welcome to GBN Live. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Grand Strand Law, at 843-492-5422. They are at Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. You can email them at grandstrandlawgroup.com. Don't forget to give permissions to Facebook so we can view your comments. You can log into streamyard.com/Facebook. Today's guest is Jacqueline Clancy with Jacqueline Clancy Consulting and Pawleys Island Chapter of GBN. Stay tuned, GBN Live is next. Again, today's guest is Jacqueline Clancy. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having me, Lori.
Welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself, where you're originally from, maybe a little bit about your family, your puppies.
I am originally from New York, new to South Carolina, about 4 months brand new, and I am a nurse, master's prepared for over 22 years in various diverse specialties. I have a nice husband that's retired from FDNY and 2 golden doodle puppies that are about 2 years old.
Nice. So you're just new, and you said 4 months?
4 months, yeah, and we're loving it.
What brought you here? Besides, you didn't want to be the New York winter anymore.
We like to say that people, the pleasantries and the politics, we like everything just has, it stands, and it was perfect and an alignment for us. And of course, we love the beach, and being in this area is, all beach all the time.
Well, it's good to have you. So you're a legal nurse consultant. How did you get into that profession?
So, in varying roles I've had in the medical field, from home health to working in nursing homes to managing acute care, cardiac unit in the university hospital. I went into creating operations and logistics, which prevents delay of care in patients, and onto creating an interfacility transfer center, which is basically when one patient is at one hospital and needs a higher level of care or specialty. They hurt their hand, they have a stroke, they're trauma, etc. And as I was going through this arena, there were many things that I was able to disruptively fix and enhance through writing policy and procedure and cutting through the fat, if you will. But then there was also a lot of resistance of things that people knew were wrong or knew that needed improvement, but for various reasons, whether the change in culture was too heavy, the resistance, the politics, the money, things just weren't fixed. And I saw these things repeating itself over and over. So it started opening my eyes to how can I make a bigger impact in the medical arena, because sometimes it always isn't from the inside. So I had some opportunities come my way to be an expert witness. Someone just randomly reached out to me, and I loved it. And then I took the plunge, educated myself, formulated an S-Corps, and it's all history from there.
Sounds like you like it a lot.
Extremely passionate about advocating for people who can't advocate for themselves.
So have you always wanted to do something like that, or is that just something that grew into it?
I really think it's where my journey aligned, because without my experience, my degree of passion and frustration, I don't know that would have been able to fuel me to be a successful solopreneur. So I think everything wound up in the proper timing and led me to this path at this point.
Nice. So what does a normal day-to-day look like for you?
A normal day-to-day, I'm living my best life now. I wake up, have a workout, or do some yoga. I meet with some of my clients, review cases. I also am a mentor for a company that teaches nurses how to become legal nurse consultants. So I really enjoy that, coaching the nurses to be able to do what I'm doing for themselves as well.
Nice. So who would be a typical client?
Oh, my target ideal client is a medical malpractice attorney or personal injury attorney. Those are my top two on my list. But anyone that is experiencing, any attorneys that are experiencing any issues with medical relations is more than welcome to reach out. There's room in the criminal arena. Also, believe it or not, in the estate arena as well, in wills, because sometimes people are contesting the competency or state of mind that friend or family member may have signed their documents under, and then I can come in handy evaluating medical records for that situation as well.
So with all the knowledge that you have, would you say you need a better understanding of the legal aspect or the medical aspect to best help your clients?
Well, the attorneys know the legal side. They're leaning on me as the expert to show them that medical side. And the real interesting thing in layman's terms, I'm essentially a medical detective. And any good detective will tell you people are not going to just present you the evidence. And that really translates well in the medical legal arena, because when you request your medical record or the attorney requests your medical record, you're not getting the whole thing. And unless you've been doing this for an extended amount of time and looking through all sorts of records, you're really not going to be able to know what's missing. And many times that's where I close my cases, is what's missing, identifying it, requesting it, and then nailing that down.
So more of just a digging in to find more, or just that maybe people aren't being up and up on everything?
I think it's knowing what exists and knowing what's not coming out. I like to say people are not going to willingly hand over the noose to hang themselves. So that's kind of where the detective work comes through. I don't know that that's the way it should be, but of course that's the way it is. And then we tactically approach from there. So, just to give you some examples, I recently was working on a case that there was a cardiac arrest, and in the cardiac arrest, there was no documentation of what went on during the code, what medications were administered, if compressions were given or not, and of course, throughout the record, there was other conflicting information. And unfortunately, this poor patient suffered a noxic brain injury. So, the normal legal arena may not know everything that should be done in this sort of situation, where if you're bringing in an expert, they can identify all of those things. And now, once you have everything, you can do a comparative gap analysis essentially, and identify what's not shaking out properly. And that's where your case lies.
Sounds like fun though, actually.
It is. I love it. I jump up when I find that needle in the haystack. I run around and I have a little party for myself, and it's a great time.
I can relate. So what are the best qualities that you'd look for, and who would be best to become a legal nurse consultant?
There's nurses in all sorts of specialties. So anyone who really has a burning passion for veracity and likes to help victims. And victims can be on either side. Victims can be the patients that come in and have issues, or in a personal injury case, but victims can also be wrongfully accused healthcare providers as well. So, you can work on the plaintiff side or the defense, but wherever your passion is burning and wherever you want to go in and use your clinical skills and point them out to the attorneys and help them leverage their side of the case, that's what you need. You need the passion first, then the mindset, then the action, and everything falls into place.
That's interesting. I mean, that would be fun. So after the break, we will discuss a few of Jacqueline's most interesting cases. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Justice Ann. I've been a canine liaison at Grand Strand Law Group for, 30 years? What's that? You don't believe me? I meant 30 dog years, of course. First rule of lawyering, read the fine print. Anywho, my humans at Grand Strand Law Group have a combined 20 years experience. I know, not as much as me, but that's in people years. So yeah, still pretty impressive. Real estate, estate planning, or probate, you need GSLG.
Grand Strand Law Group. Trust us, we have a dog.
Great business networking grew out of the idea that by creating lasting friendships within the community, we can make the community even better.
I was looking to network with professionals and to be able to refer my clients to somebody that I trust.
Well, it's really important to trust the members of the group because we really generate quality referrals, and to know somebody, be friends with them, and get that qualified referral is the key to success.
It is networking, but it doesn't feel like networking, and that is important to me. I come to the meetings, I have fun, I make great connections, and I help grow my business.
GBN, these are some of the best professionals in the market, and having that resource available to me, that's priceless.
Well, GBN is a network of business professionals that build long-lasting friendships that will not only grow my business, will grow yours as well. That's what referral marketing is all about.
GBN really is the most important marketing for your business. Check us out today.
Welcome back. Jacqueline Clancy with Jacqueline Clancy Consulting in the Pawleys Island Chapter of GBN is with us again. All right, so we all want to know, what are some of your best cases you've been involved in? We know you have to protect your clients and their secrecy, but as long as we don't need names or anything else, what are some of your most fun and interesting?
Oh, let's see. I think my favorite case so far was a case where an attorney brought to me for just, what I thought was a run-of-the-mill cubitus ulcer, or bed sore as they're more commonly known as. And how I tactically approach my cases is I literally put myself in that scenario. I start visualizing and I start getting really curious. So this happened to be a young male in his 30s. So I said, wow, why does this guy have a bed sore, right? So I didn't want to, and as I approach all my cases, just address where the attorney's looking. I want to go in with fresh set of eyes, child's eyes, so to speak, from a balcony view. So I'm getting in there and I'm getting very curious. And I see that the patient presented to an emergency room on a weekend that was a small community hospital. And typically they do not have full services, especially compared to a larger hospital or one during normal week hours. So he presented with a large umbilical hernia that was strangulating. And unfortunately, no one attempted to transfer that patient to a hospital that had capabilities to do emergent surgery. And he had to wait 6 hours to get his hernia repaired. And it ended up in him losing 85% of his small intestine. And that has lifelong ramifications. This guy is never going to be the same. And I was able to identify that for the attorneys. They had no idea that there was delay of care going to the OR that made him have all of these complications that essentially ended him up in a rehab nursing home for care, where he ended up developing that decubitus ulcer. But that was a great win, and that's a multi-million-dollar medical malpractice suit that they did not know they had previous to my report.
That's awesome. I bet that felt really good.
Yeah, and I'm happy for the patient or the victim in this matter too, because as we know, that sort of care is extremely costly, and we shouldn't have to worry about any of those things to help him live his life in this new adapted manner now.
Nice, good for you. So do you find when a medical professional gets into a bind or truly makes an honest mistake, do you find that they don't feel they have anyone they can turn to?
I am so happy you asked that question, Lori. So when I analyze my cases, another real huge piece for me in my med-mal arena is this a person issue or is this a process issue? And 9 times out of 10, it's a process issue, meaning the situation has occurred before. It's not an outlier. The person or who the negligence is being hung on, it's not a one-man show, so to speak. it's multiple failures in process. I like to call it the holes in the Swiss cheese all line up for some of these poor victims. And that essentially is the ultimate compound effect. And that's another reason why you really need an expert to come in and identify these, because if there are small delays only in, for the nurse, for the doctor, for the specialist, they may not be a huge delay in and of themselves, but when added together and quantified, then it becomes an extended delay, multiple hours. So in that case I shared with you before, I wouldn't say that's the ER physician's responsibility who admitted that patient to have said this person needs to be transferred out because we don't have the capability to service it. There was no policy in place. There was no protocol in place. And I can guarantee that this entity has seen delay of care with negative outcomes related to surgery on the weekends before. This is not an uncommon play, yet there's no policy in place. So is that really the practitioner's responsibility solely, or is it the entity's responsibility because they're not providing a pathway for their workers? Does that make sense?
Yes. So would you say overall there's more mishaps on weekend or weekdays, or is there really no correlation?
Statistically speaking, holidays, weekends, and overnights have more negative outcomes.
I always laugh and say if you want to do anything like mess up, do it on Black Friday. I was playing with my granddaughter and thought I was still 20. We all know I'm not. And I was running up and down the stairs with her within my arms, and I fell. So I had to go to the emergency room, and I was in and out. X-rays, doctor, the whole 9 yards. They patched me up, but I sprained my ankle, we'll say. But half an hour in and out. I thought, man, I'm going to start doing things on Black Friday if I have to do them. So, but yeah, I would always think that weekends and holidays, doctors wouldn't want to be there. That's why I wondered. So with all the healthcare moving at a record pace, everywhere you turn, you see a new doctor's office or a standalone emergency room. Do you find there are system failures happening more often that don't really protect healthcare workers?
Oh, absolutely. My own personal philosophy, which was quite disruptive when I was clinical leader, was, again, is this a person issue or is this a process issue? And if you as a leader are seeing the same scenario occur once, twice, 3 times, it really is your responsibility to intervene and create a new pathway, because otherwise you're doing the definition of insanity, repeating the same things over and over again and expecting a different result.
Agree. So if I were in the medical field and realized I had made an error, what would you think I should do first?
Well, the first thing that you're mandated to do is to report it in to your first direct report. But I think what we've seen quite swiftly changing in the medical arena, citing the Redonda case that just happened out of Tennessee, nurses are going to be more hesitant in physicians in reporting their errors because now they're criminally liable. And that's a really taboo subject to discuss, but it's certainly going to impact the self-reporting. As a matter of fact, I have many cases where there's falls involved, for instance, and there's no incident report. There's no documentation of the fall. And what happens is a lot of attorneys won't touch that because they think it's not meritorious because there's no documentation there. But that's where I advise my attorney clients, no, you double down, because not only did they not report it and not document it, if there's any excessive injury, such as a fracture, now you're in joint commission, state reportable. They're mandated at the state and national level. And they need to do those things. So they're not in one failure with just that victim. They're in a systems failure as well, in a healthcare system regulatory arena.
And I always feel is probably not a good thing. So we now have some rapid fire questions for you. What was your first job?
I was a medical assistant in a doctor's office
So you've done this your whole life.
my whole life.
So, night owl or early bird?
Night owl.
Dog or cat? Obviously dog.
Yes.
Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
What is your favorite color?
Green.
Favorite word or phrase?
Oh man, my favorite phrase. I don't accept the status quo.
Favorite movie?
I'm not a big movie person. Well, now this time of year, I'll say The Christmas Story.
Okay. Man, raising 5 kids, I don't ever want to watch that again. Favorite song?
Call Me, Blondie.
You could vacation anywhere in the world you wanted to go. Where would that be?
St. Lucia.
Favorite app?
Favorite app. Well, I hope it's going to be the GBN app that just got updated.
That's the right answer.
Thank you.
So if you want to get in touch with Jacqueline, call her at 631-612-1387. We want to thank you for coming with us. But before we go, can you tell us why referral marketing is so important to you, and specifically why you chose to be a member of Great Business Networking?
So I was a part of another business networking before, and I really like the idea of friends first mentality in this, because if I'm going to refer someone, now it's not just on their own name. Now they're associated with mine. And before I'm going to want to associate myself with someone as a referral, I'm going to make sure I want to know that person inside and out, and that they're going to deliver a good product, or that's going to reflect poorly on me. And that's how I go about business, and that's exactly how GBN goes about business. There's no better business than by mouth and referrals and through friends of friends or business partners. They're the strongest. They're your best clients. And then, in the whole giver's gain arena, it just replicates and replicates and replicates, and it's just a beautiful thing. Plus, the people are so much fun over in Pawleys Island. We have a great time.
Yes, ma'am. So would you prefer to be contacted by email or phone?
Phone, email, whatever is more convenient.
So your website is jclancy.com.
Yes.
Well, I wish you all the success in the world. Welcome to South Carolina, and hope to see you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks.